A spiritual awakening is a journey that you take. You begin as an unconscious being that's unaware that anything's going on outside of what it perceives. You have a very subjective view on the objective reality that's actually playing out. And your subjective view is programmed and implanted based upon the experiences you've had in your life up until this point, that your consciousness clicks, something happens, and kaboom, you have this heightened perspective, this moment where your world changes, your perspective, your ideals, everything that you ever believed is now in question. You could have grown up religious, you could have grown up conservative, or, just you could have grown up a specific way that had you believing that, this was about it. Like, there's nothing beyond this, or I have a pretty good understanding. It's like you almost think that you know what's going on, or that science has it under control, the leaders have it under control. You just worried about your little life. And then this moment happens. It's called the tower moment, where your whole life comes crashing down. Your perspective, your view on reality changes. Here this squirrel is, looking up at its home like, oh my gosh, this lightning just took out my home and now I have to rebuild. I have to change everything. That's kind of what an awakening is. It's like you're seeking something. You can feel it. There's an emptiness. There's a hole inside of you where your soul is, where your spirit connects to, basically. And you feel it. Like, it's kind of empty. There's a void. There's something missing. What's going on? Why can't I connect? Or why do I feel unfulfilled? Is a great question you may ask. Why do I feel unfulfilled? Why do I have what I want, or seemingly have what I want, and it's still kind of empty right here? Why do I have these addictions, and why do I have insecurities, or these things, right? There's just this empty feeling that's not fulfilling. Something's not fulfilling in your life. And it's like you're knocking on spirit's door at this point. You're basically calling, you're calling your spirit, you're calling your higher self to come down and guide you on this journey of your awakening, where your spirit is awakening from an unconscious perspective of reality to this adventurous journey that's going to enlighten you to the grander, greater aspects of everything that's playing out around you. That you are vibration that connects to every single energy that you interact with, whether it's on a mental level, spiritual level, or a physical level. You're going on this adventure to realize that your environment speaks to you. And there is a way to communicate like we do on cell phones, but without the cell phones. We are able to do everything that we project into this reality inside of us already. We have lost sight of that because we have programmed our minds to forget this knowledge, to forget this ability that we have. And the awakening is an experience to go from a very limited perspective, whether it's a logical, rational way to believe. If the collective believe it, right? The collective have this very scientific way of perceiving reality that NASA and all the scientists just got it under control. We just need to wait for them to print these magazine articles, and we need to wait for the news to tell us what's going on in the world. And that's pretty much how we get our information. You know what I'm saying? Which is not the case. You have a supercomputer in your mind. And if you've ever seen the movie Lucy or Limitless or many other movies, The Matrix, you have this ability, everything that we can do. We can literally look up on the internet, call people from across the world, right? These are things that we can do with our mind. Our mind has this ability by going within ourselves. And on a spiritual journey, on an awakening experience that you go through, after this tower moment, you have this moment here, which doesn't look great, right? She looks pretty upset and her heart's being torn left and right. And it's really dark and alone and sad and blah, blah, blah. Well, at this point in your awakening, once you realize that there's more going on because your spirit, your higher self is guiding you to this knowledge, it's like there's this moment now where it's really sad. It's hard to detach from what you know and what you love and what you have created your foundation on, right? That's why your foundation is crumbling here. Sometimes it's really hard to let go, and it's hard to believe or resist, or to go with the changes, right? We want to resist the changes. We want to, sit in this energy, which is not a good energy to sit in. We have to detach from our old way of thinking in order to grow. And that's what this journey is about. It's like, in order to get from point A to point B, we have to accept this awakening that's happening, this moment. You see how this is right where your third eye, is, guys. You have a mind's eye. Close your eyes right now and tell me you can't see an elephant, because I said elephant, right? Your mind's eye is awakening you to perceive reality without, see how these two eyes are closed? So this card is basically showing you that with your eyes closed, you can still have thoughts and actions created through the mind, right? Well, that's what's happening, is this activation inside of your mind is basically guiding you to this magnificent experience where this is your third eye. This is representing your third eye chakra here. And it's basically enlightening you to the fact that, there was a void missing. There was more that you needed to know. And as a species, as a conscious collective, and as individuals, we are connecting to higher abilities than we've ever known possible. Like, when I say that, for the longest we've believed in this physical reality as being a measurable scientific way to experience life, because they teach us past, present, and future as a linear time event. So everything that happened on the left here in our reality is the past, and everything that happens on the right is our future. When in reality, time is constantly the now. There is no past, there is no future. It's the now. And in your awakening, you're going to unravel these truths over a course of how open some people go through this really rapid awakening, which I've been one of those people, and it's not necessarily the funnest experience, but it's absolutely worth it, and absolutely, I wouldn't change it for anything. Because I have died and been reborn so many times in this specific body that I now have the ability, and many others, we're having this ability, which you do unconsciously regardless, to be born again. You're constantly dying and being reborn. That's the lesson of life, that life is about transformation. It's about being born, growing old, and then dying, right? That is the story of life in the simplest way to put it. And the awakening is about all the experiences from birth to death that you should be having on earth. But instead, when you were asleep and unconscious, you were not aware. It's like your awareness was very limited, and you can't perceive how much of an experience you're here to do. You're here to experience life and to influence and to inspire and to create. So your spirit and your body, because your body is just giving you an experience in this physical dimension. Your spirit itself wants to evolve and to expand. And you have to learn how to experience and what it means, and how to consciously experience things, not unconsciously, not because everyone's doing it or it's the norm or it's the trend. doing it because your soul, your spirit is calling you to do so. It's what guides you to your purpose in life, how to literally discover why you're here. You know what I'm saying? This is the Magician. And this card, so if you don't know about tarot, I'm just kind of connecting the dots here with some tarot cards. So if you do know tarot, you'll understand. But this is the Magician. And this card is basically the first card. This is card number 1, right? Not zero, there's a 0, but that's number 1 in the major arcana. And basically this card is saying you are the alchemist. So you are Neo in the Matrix. You are the magician. You have all the elements available to you: earth, air, fire, and water. And you literally can create your own reality. This is the truth that you are, this void that you have. This is that void trying to be filled. It wants to create, it wants to manifest, it wants to be more than somebody that's tied to a clock, that's tied to time, the element of time, right? It wants to go beyond. So if you see in this card, you see how she's like standing at the edge of a cliff. She's standing at the edge of this cliff, and that's the ocean, and she's got her surfboard and her foot's going, and she wants to go. It's like she wants to head towards this direction, but she's scared. She's like, I don't know if I should do this. I really, really want to, but I don't know if I should. It's like this back and forth battle in her mind. But the thing is, she's going to do it. Like, she's just at this point where she's like, I don't know. Well, this is what's happening at this point. So you discover, you're like, okay, well, I'm a magician. I can manifest. I can create reality. The law of attraction, it's something that what I put out comes back to me type thing. You realize, energy is something that I can, quote unquote, manipulate, right? You're manipulating reality based upon your thoughts and your feelings and your actions and your choices, right? Well, once you realize that, once you can muster up the strength, the strength card now came out. And in this card, she is, well, this one has a little bit of a different meaning. But basically the strength card is like, okay, now I have this strength. I have to have inner strength. I have to remove insecurities and doubt and fear and all this negative vibrational energy that's not actually helping me. I have to find the courage. I have to be brave. I have to take initiative here and find out what it is I'm missing in life. What am I passionate about? What am I here for? This is where you get into the mind a lot. And through meditation and contemplation, basically, you now are starting to discover that, wow, there's so much more going on here than I ever knew. And there's always something more to learn. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how much you know. Wisdom is knowing that you don't know shit, right? So truly, no matter how old you are, you're constantly learning. And if you're not resisting your spiritual awakening, your awakening is accelerating and happening at a pace that knowledge just comes through like drinking water, okay? Or like taking a shower, like all the water, the rain, like how rain falls. The knowledge can pour in when you're open and receptive to receiving it. And then, this is the Queen of Wands. She comes out to say, well, hello, I'm here. I'm beautiful. I'm a creator. I'm a manifester. I am good at business. I am capable of living my dream. And this also represents like the attractive quality that you have, regardless of how you feel with the insecurities. You have something about you that's magnetic and attractive and beautiful, okay? And you have to discover this. You will discover this within your awakening once you allow, once you don't resist the synchronicities. If you're seeing numbers repeating themselves, or realizing you're going through these cycles in life that you just keep going around and around, or 365 days have passed and you're literally doing the same thing. That's telling you that you're stuck in patterns and habits, habitual energy that does not serve you, because in 365 days that's a lot of time to grow as a person. So another thing about the spiritual awakening is, like, spiritually awakening is constantly contradicting yourself. A lot of people have a hard time with this because contradicting is almost a negative word in society, when a contradiction is basically just saying, well, last week or last year I believed this to be true, and this week or this year I now have a higher, a more expanded, enlightened version of what I perceived before. So your mind has grown and evolved, or you have grown and evolved as a person to what you previously knew. It's a lot. It's because, think about it. A lot of times, we want to stay in our comfortable little boxes because they're comfortable. But if you stay in one energy for too long, you get stuck. And if you don't want to be stuck and have that empty void inside of you, you have to keep pushing through the boundaries of not limiting yourself, going higher, gathering more knowledge. And then this takes you to, so this came out. So this is the sun. I don't know why it's so freaking bright, because it's not really that bright. But this is the sun, right? Let's see if I can focus it. Ooh, there we go. So this is the sun, and this is the really, really happy card of the deck that basically describes ultimate happiness and joy and fulfillment. So everything you could ever possibly want to feel happy and joyful about yourself and your life, you're just at this blissful, happy, childlike energy where everything you could ever wish for is there. And you only get to that energy when you push through the boundaries of limiting beliefs, doubt, fear, anxiety, stress, bounding yourself with things like addictions. It's very limiting. It's a limiting process to not allow this to push through. Your spiritual awakening is trying to activate your chakra centers in your body. We have this energetic body within us that wants to activate your superpowers. Like, imagine the freaking Power Rangers, guys. It's like you have this ability within you to supersede everything you've ever perceived in life. It just takes your faith, perseverance, drive, determination, kindness, an open heart, an open mind. And it requires you to take steps towards it as well. Because it's not just going to be like, all right, here it is, it's easy, bye. No, this is a really difficult thing. Like, my journey so far, like, because I'm sure I've been on this much longer, but I've consciously been aware of my journey for like 6 years now. And I can't even explain to you at this moment. In a video I will, but I can't explain to you how many times I've died and been reborn in just 6 years. You just go through this death and rebirth process and realize that's how everything works. In the summer, it's bright and fun, and the sun feels good on your skin. You don't wear, you wear lighter clothes, and you go swimming, and you go on vacations, and you hang out with your friends more. It's just a really happy time, right? And then the fall happens, and the leaves come off, and it gets a little colder, a little windier. And then it starts to snow in the winter. It gets really, really cold and dark. And then the spring happens. After the winter, the spring comes, and all the flowers bloom, and the birds sing and have babies, and the deer come out, and you just have this energy of renewal. This is the birth. This is the death and the rebirth process that happens every single year. So we should be dying and being reborn every single year as humans. So imagine if we were taught this from childhood, we would have a grander understanding that there's a cycle happening here. There's no linear time. We're on a cycle. And in this cycle, you're born and life is like spring when you're born. Think about it. Think of how little children are. And then summer, right? When you're like a teenager, when you're young, when you're like, kind of like 18, 20, like you're just free, but you're like freaking invincible. It's like the summer. And then you go through fall, and that's more like middle age, right? In your middle age years, you're just kind of like, well, dang, you don't want to be in your middle age and be like, shoulda, woulda, coulda. You want to be in your middle age like, I did all this great stuff. And I can reflect, and now be calm and let my leaves fall and just kind of accept what's coming, this death that's coming in my later years. So once you do get to death, you look back like, I did all that. That's so amazing. That's so amazing. You don't want to be regretful in your later years. You want to go through life like the seasons, like this, like every single morning the sun rises and every single night the moon comes up, right? The moon goes through its own phases. That's who you are. You are a constantly evolving being that should contradict itself because it's growing and expanding. And that's how you get through this awakening. That's how you get through the journey of life. You start off as the fool. You start off as the naive little innocent child that doesn't understand all the trauma and the darkness and the aspects of life that could harm you and hurt you. And you're just all light. You're all happiness. You're all joy. And everything's exciting. But the point is not ever to lose that, but to gain and add the other side to yourself. So here, this card is fire. And the fire card is representing the dualistic part of ourselves. So the white dragon represents that purity, that innocent part of ourselves where, this is what we want the world to see. This is what we want to be. We like imagine ourselves as really pure, and we try to do our best and be kind and, have a good heart and things. But then this side, this darker being, this darker dragon is basically representing that, we could all be rainbows and sunshine all the time, but we have to accept that we have two parts of ourselves. We also have a dark side, right? We also have animalistic nature and desires, or parts of ourselves that we don't like, that we don't want to share with the world, that we don't necessarily want to even acknowledge. We like to put this part of ourselves in denial. But the beautiful part about your awakening journey is coming to this conclusion that both parts of you are amazing. Both sides can be balanced. You see how balanced this card is? Both sides of you can be balanced. And here's this balance forces card. So you can become balanced to where, I hope you can see this, where, you accept who you are to the core. That way, you project that energy into the world that you are who you are. Like, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. I have done the work. I am this, I am that, I am nothing, I am everything. And you accept me or you don't. I am perfectly imperfect. That is the spiritual awakening journey. And it's going to happen for others in different ways. Like some people in this life, like, because we're obviously billions of us in the same time, right? There's some people that are over there, and there's some people that are over there and up there and down here or whatever. And that's the beauty of diversity, is their journey and his and hers and yours are all on different frequencies, on different vibrations. So it doesn't really have to align with anyone else. It's really about aligning yourself. It's finding your flow, your fluid. I love this card. So look at that. She's so cool. This is water, the overflow. Like, this is acknowledging, this is like balancing out that fire. So this is unconditional love for yourself. This is dropping, like, remember we had that card where it was like insecurities and self-love and stuff? Well, at this point, it's like, I don't care if I got 6 arms, I'm blue, and you know what I'm saying? It's like, whoever I am, I'm great. I'm so cool. This is who I am. This is my ultimate self. And it just flows. It flows. It's sharing. I'm sharing this with the world. And this is how I'm going to heal. This is how I'm going to fill that void, that empty space within myself. Because I'm in full conscious awareness of who I am. And I accept myself. And I share my energy with the world in this way. So that leads you to this, that leads you to 2 things here, actually. So this is the card for the heart chakra, which is the energy center in your heart, or we physically call it a heart, but it's the energy center around your heart, or what we connect to, the heart space. And it says unfurling back to love, because what you're doing at this point is you are coming back to this place of love, self unconditional. I love my dark, I love my light, I love who I am, I love everything and everybody. Even, let's say, the hate, you know what I'm saying? You have to accept everything that's happened to you in this forgiveness, and kind of objectively step back and just be like, I get it. Like, I just get all that's happened to me, and I get that I'm never going to know it all. I'm never going to have the best of everything. I'm never going to be the most beautiful. I'm never going to be any of these things, because the whole point of this body, this journey I'm on, is realizing, one, I came into this body with not full knowledge of all the journey that it was going to go through. But the experience that I'm taking with me after this body dies is priceless. You cannot, you literally, before your birth in this body, you're like, oh, I need a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you kind of create this astrology, this way, this path for yourself. And on this journey, you're meant to ascend, and this is representing your crown chakra, which your crown chakra is flowing out above your head, your energy that comes out of your head and connects to that which is outside of yourself. And this is like Super Saiyan God Goku right here. Once you have that capability and you understand that part of yourself, you can ascend to something greater, a more higher version of yourself in reality. So that is what a spiritual awakening is. It's awakening your spirit to higher truths and higher versions of perceptions that you have formed, programs that you have formed based upon teachings within reality. So that's what I have on that for today. I really appreciate you for watching. If you could like the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel, help me grow and expand on my own personal awakening. So thank you so much. Bye.
And do not forget the energy side of